They betrayed me at my lowest, but why did losing them change my life for the better? The day I lost everything was actually the day I was set free, but it took me 2 years of staring at a blank ceiling to realize that the people I thought were my life jackets were actually the weights pulling me under. At 26, I stood in the middle of a literal wreckage, my apartment flooded, my job gone, and my 2 closest friends laughing behind my back as they walked away from the mess they helped create. To tell you this story, I have to tell you about Sarah and Tom. At 27 and 28, they were the center of my universe. We had been inseparable since college. I was the fixer of the group. If Sarah couldn't pay her rent, I covered it. If Tom's car broke down, I was the one driving him to work at 5 a.m. I thought I was building a brotherhood, but in reality, I was just building a pedestal for people who enjoyed looking down on me. My breaking point happened on a Tuesday. I had just lost my father, and a week later, a freak pipe burst in my apartment, destroying almost every memory I had left of him. I was broke from funeral costs and emotionally paralyzed. I called Sarah. I called Tom. I just needed a place to crash for a few nights, a couch, a floor, anything. Instead of a hand, I got excuses. Sarah told me her guest room was being painted, even though I knew it was empty. Tom didn't even pick up. He just sent a text saying, "Tough break, man," before posting photos of them out at a bar later that night. They didn't just leave me in the cold, they effectively blocked me the moment I wasn't useful or fun anymore. Have you ever realized that the people you'd take a bullet for wouldn't even give you a ride in the rain? I ended up sleeping in my car for 3 weeks. It's funny how fast your perspective changes when your world shrinks to the size of a backseat. At first, the anger was a wildfire. I wanted to call them, scream at them, and tell them how much I'd sacrificed for them. But as the nights got colder, the fire died down into a cold, hard ember of realization. I realized that by losing them, I had lost the constant need to please everyone but myself. For years, I had been an emotional ATM, letting them withdraw my energy, my money, and my time until I was overdrawn. Their betrayal wasn't a tragedy, it was an eviction notice from a life that was killing me. If you lost every person you call a friend today, who would you actually be when no one is watching? I took a job working nights at a warehouse, grueling, physical work that left my hands blistered and my back aching. But for the first time in my life, I wasn't spending my paycheck on someone else's crisis. I wasn't spending my evenings listening to Sarah complain about the same 3 problems she refused to fix. I was alone, and in that solitude, I started to hear my own voice again. Something strange happens when you stop pouring your energy into a leaking bucket. You start to overflow. I began teaching myself software development during my lunch breaks on a beat-up laptop I bought for $50. Without the constant drama of my friend group, my brain felt like it had been upgraded. I was focused. I was lean. I was dangerous because I had nothing left to lose. 1 year later, I landed a junior dev role. 6 months after that, I moved into a senior position. I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. I had a new apartment, a new car, and a peace of mind that I didn't know existed. But the real test came when my name started appearing on top 30 under 30 inches lists in my local tech scene. Would you take the call if the people who left you to drown suddenly saw you build a yacht? The texts started coming. Sarah messaged me like nothing had happened, saying she always knew I'd make it. Tom sent a long, rambling email about how he'd been going through a lot of personal stuff back then and hoped we could grab a drink. Standing in my new office, looking at their names on my screen, I realized I didn't feel any anger. I didn't even feel the need for revenge. I felt a profound sense of gratitude. If they had been good friends, if they had given me that couch to sleep on, I would still be the same fixer, living for their approval. Their cruelty was the only thing that could have forced me to discover my own strength. I never replied to those messages. Not because I'm petty, but because those versions of us no longer exist. I learned that the universe often removes people from your life not as a punishment, but as a protection. They were the anchors, I was the ship. Once the anchors were cut, I finally started to move. The most meaningful lesson I learned wasn't about money or career success. It was that self-worth isn't something you get from others, it's something you build in the dark when no one else is there to cheer for you. I became the person I am today because they left me no other choice. What do you think? Is betrayal sometimes a hidden gift, or is that just a way to cope with the pain? I want to hear your stories in the comments. Have you ever had a loss turn into your biggest win? If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe to our community. Remember, sometimes being left alone is just the universe giving you the space to grow.